I was going through the files on this Blackstone community, and I keep coming back to this one thing.
What's that?
We think of fiction as, something that stays on the page. But with John Horroman, it's like he didn't just write a bad book, he physically built it into the town.
He did.
And it makes you wonder, right, can a commercial failure actually be a blueprint for a new reality?
That's the core of it. That's the mission for this deep dive, really. We're looking at the Creeps and Geeks project, and it's this perfect case study of what happens when you take a story, a failed one at that, and just sort of brute force it into the real world.
Using the nuts and bolts of a book no one even bought?
Exactly, and using it to try and revitalize this dying suburban town.
And dying is the perfect word. I mean, Blackstone's population was in a nosedive. That has to be the only reason the mayor and city council even took the meeting.
Oh, for sure. He wasn't pitching a business plan. The sources say he was selling unbridled enthusiasm.
It's a vision, not a product.
Precisely. And for a town that desperate, a vision was enough. He got them to hand over an old, defunct hotel, and this is the crucial part, the utility tunnels running underneath it.
The descriptions of those tunnels are just... Well, this wasn't some squatter's camp. It was a whole designed ecosystem.
It really was. You've got RVs parked on artificial turf, fluorescent lights trying to mimic daylight.
A cafeteria serving burgers. I mean, it sounds like a surrealist idea of a fallout shelter.
A self-sustaining one, yeah. He put in a swimming pool, an oasis, he called it. And even one of those American Ninja Warrior-style gyms.
But the detail that gets me, the thing that shows reality is already bending, is the rats.
The rats, right.
In any normal town, that's a huge health code violation. But in Horroman's tunnels, they were just part of the vibe.
They're basically residents. And, that kind of place attracted a very specific crowd. Fringe scientists, poets, vagrants, a highly diversified landscape, as one source puts it.
Which brings us to phase 2, and this is where it stops being just eccentric and starts getting psychological.
The call center.
Yeah, in the hotel basement. But they're not selling anything you'd recognize.
No, they're selling a mythology. The job was to tell stories, not from John's book, but stories of strange encounters that supposedly happened right there in the tunnels.
It's a perfect analog feedback loop.
It is. You have people living in this bizarre place telling stories about how bizarre it is, which in turn makes the place feel even more bizarre.
And he cuts them off from the outside. That's key. No smartphones, no news.
Just landlines and a stack of DVDs that John himself curated. When you control the flow of information that tightly, you can really start to bend a group's reality.
The sources say that's when he lost his grip. When he couldn't tell the difference between his own life and his bibliography. He wanted them to bleed together.
And they did, which led to Barry.
This part of the research genuinely creeped me out. Barry was the villain from John's novel, the antagonist.
And then, according to multiple accounts, he just physically shows up, walks right into John's RV in the tunnel.
A manifestation.
Yeah.
But the interaction, so strange. John offers this terrifying villain some quail from his freezer.
And Barry says no.
He says he's cutting back on fleshy meats. You're expecting a monster, and you get a guy on a diet.
And that's what broke John, I think. The banality of it. His fictional villain was this chaotic, primal force. The real Barry was, well, he was practical. Corporate, almost.
He didn't want to destroy the world. He wanted to franchise it.
He stages a hostile takeover of John's own fantasy, pivots the whole thing to a motel-based model.
So now guests pay to stay there, and they work shifts in the call center to cover their board.
Exactly. It's monetized entrapment. It's efficient. And John suddenly realizes he's not the author of this story anymore. One source says he became a slave to Barry's malevolent grip.
A prisoner in his own creation. The irony is just, it's heavy.
And from the outside, for the town of Blackstone, it worked. Creeps and Geeks was making money. But spiritually, the consensus is that it just latched on to the darkest parts of people. It didn't destroy the community, it corrupted it.
It makes you look at all the things we build, companies, online communities, whatever, and ask who's really writing the story.
And that's really the thought to leave you with, isn't it? If you build a reality based on a story, what happens when the villain decides to rewrite the ending?